Hi everyone, this last video for the month of November, I'm going to talk about different foods and food combinations and just some kind of miscellaneous information that I have found researching along the way as I've dived more into toxin-free living and just looking at the food that we're eating and how we're eating it and when we're eating it. There's so many variables. So I'm going to attempt to kind of streamline this video. And this is just talking about like combinations of foods and what kinds of foods basically. So you should be eating a variety of foods, but you shouldn't be eating so much of a variety that you're stressing out your digestive system. Each kind of food has a very specific enzyme and acidic level and all of that that your body needs to break down. So if you're eating lots of different types of foods all at one time, your body struggles to break them down individually because it can only do so much when it's all kind of sloshing around in your stomach in there together. So you don't want to stress out your digestive system by eating a ton of food. This is kind of funny saying this after celebrating our huge holiday, if you're in the United States, of Thanksgiving that we just celebrated last week, but do your best. Of course, it's Thanksgiving and you already ate tons of different foods, but that's not ideal for every single day, everyday life. You should not be eating fruit with other foods. So my girls love to have fruit for breakfast. It's so hard to get them to wait and have it as a snack, but that's really the best time that you should be eating fruit all by themselves as a snack, just straight fruit. None of the creamy fruit dips, not with your meals, just fruit, because your body tends to put the fruit kind of last on the line of processing it, breaking down. So actually when you have lots of other heavier things that your stomach is breaking down, the fruit kind of sits on top of your stomach and starts to ferment, which doesn't sound very good. So fruit is really good to snack in between meals and to eat by itself. So like watermelon and berries and bananas, all those things are great snacks in between meals to help hold you over. So another thing you want to take into consideration is you have different starches. So low starch veggies like lettuce and peppers, cucumbers are great to go with anything. You can pair them with whatever kind of food you want. However, heavier starches like potatoes, grains, and lima beans, you should really combine them with the low starch sugars or the low starch veggies that I just talked about, and definitely not sugars, because these starches actually have something in them that breaks down the enzyme your body needs to break down. Oh, I said that wrong. The sugar actually breaks down the enzyme that your body needs to break down the starchy food. So you shouldn't be eating super sweet things with the starches, because then your body can't break down the starches as easily. Proteins, you want to make sure that you are having proteins with low starch vegetables. That was the lettuce, the peppers, the cucumbers, not the starches, again, because the enzymes don't play well together. So a lot of people have burgers with buns and French fries, and that's not the best, because the French fries and the grains in the bun help your body, actually hinder your body from producing the correct enzymes to break down the burger. So you really should spread it out a little bit. Have a salad with your burger or your steak instead of the heavy like bread and potatoes. It's so hard to do, but if you're wanting to help your stomach out, that's what my research suggested, because of the enzymes and just the way that all the foods kind of work together in your stomach. It's also important to know that you should eat one protein at a time. So if you're having like beef and bacon and chicken and pork, like all of the different meats have a different kind of enzyme that's required to break them down. But when you eat them all together, it just slows down that digestive process. So pick one protein to eat at the same time and then spread the others out. So nuts have protein in them. Instead of having those with your meal that already has protein, maybe hold those off for an afternoon snack or a morning snack. To give you an example, each protein has its own kind of enzyme that the body uses, and when it's all mixed together, it just kind of makes it a little more difficult, a little sloppier process. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. I do have all of this typed out if you are a visual person like me and it makes more sense to see like the order and things, and maybe I didn't do a great job at explaining that. So if you want the food combination list, just drop that in the comments, say food combo list or something like that, so I know I can send that to you or send you in the direction of that. The next thing I want to talk about is the pH scale, and I didn't even think about this. I taught middle school science, so I taught all about pH, but I didn't think about it in terms of digestion and food until I started researching. And basically the gist is your pH scale just measures how acidic or not acidic something is. So normally tap water is kind of in the middle, and then things that are very acidic would be less than 7, and things that are alkaline or not acidic would be above 7. That's kind of like the general rule. So pH is really important when you're thinking about the foods that you're eating. pH in your food is not the same as pH in your blood, so don't get those confused. That was something that kind of tripped me up when I was researching. It's not the same when we're talking about pH for digestion. We're just looking at the kinds of foods that you're eating and what they are based on the pH scale. Make sure I'm making sense here, looking at my notes. Okay, so something that is acidic when it's digested in the body, less than 7 on the pH scale, and it creates an environment inside your body for inflammation, disease, and viruses to thrive. So that is not what you want. So examples of acidic food: meat, beans, caffeine, chocolate, dairy, and nuts. It's recommended that those should be about 20% of your diet. Things that are alkaline or much better for you, they have a pH higher than 7, and they bring life to the body. It's recommended that about 80% of your diet contains these foods, and 50% of that 80% should be raw, so like raw vegetables, not cooked. Examples of alkaline foods: cucumbers, melons, onions, peppers, pears, sauerkraut, spinach, walnuts, and even some citrus fruits actually break down in the body and are alkaline. So I was shocked. I thought for sure lemon would be acidic, but once you digest it, it's actually alkaline. So I also have a list of these foods. If you'd like that, you can drop pH food list in the comments or something to that sort, something of that sort. So I know to drop that link in there for you. If I'm really on the ball and I remember, I might just put those in the description or the comments myself. But if I forget and you can't find it, just drop it in the comments and that'll alert me and jog my mom brain. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that was not stressful. This is not a thing to add to your list or make you a Nazi or like legalistic about eating. You want to be careful when you are thinking about food, especially if you have young kids. You don't want to make it like so strict and following all these rules. This is more like a general kind of thing to keep in the back of your mind. Yes, it's not a great idea to have ice cream every night. We're not talking about like basic things like that. But if you're talking about food combinations and eating more alkaline foods, those are just kind of general things that you might want to start implementing and slowly weaving into your diet and your nutrition. It's not something that's going to change overnight. Just like many of the things that I talk about, it's going to take time, and you're going to want to kind of take it slow and of course allow yourself lots of grace as you're learning. And I've known this for probably 8 years and I'm still not very good at it. So give yourself lots of grace, and it's just a goal or a general guideline. You're always trying to strive to be better, not perfect. We're never going to be perfect, but any change that you can make, maybe just swapping out the fruit is a simple change that you can do. Fruit for snack instead of for breakfast. Or maybe you want to have some more raw veggies in your diet, so cut up some carrots and have them already cut up and ready to eat in the fridge, so you're reaching for those instead of something else. Just very small changes that you can make for your benefit as far as digestion goes. I hope that was helpful. I hope this gave you some value, and I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, a time to celebrate and be just grateful for all of our many blessings that we so unfortunately take for granted often. And I hope you had a great time spending time with the ones that you love.